completely different.
That's what you say. Could it really happen to
We begin this mid-July episode of the 7th House with the 7th House tradition. Your Yes Fix this evening comes from 1980. The album is called Drama. The song you heard was called Does It Really Happen? Trevor Horn on vocals, Jeffrey Downs on keyboards, Steve Howe on guitar, Chris Squire on bass, Alan White on drums. You're listening to the House of Prog, www.houseofprog.com. It is the 7th House on this Monday evening. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope all of you are well, staying cool, staying less humid, and staying as dry as possible. We will be on the air till about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, bringing you an interesting program this evening. We've got 3 in a row from Kansas later on. Got 3 in a row from Todd Rundgren. We do have 3 brand new songs that we'll be playing this evening. We will wrap things up by playing something from the great New York, New Jersey progressive band known as Is. We'll also be featuring music from the musicians in that band. But we will get started this evening with David Bowie doing Cream. This is from an album called Black Tie, White Noise, released in 1994. I Feel Free.
I feel free. I feel free. I feel free. I feel free. I feel free. I feel free. I dance with you. night shows, the signals grow on radios. All the strange things, they come and go as early warnings. Stranded starfish have no place to hide, still waiting for the swollen Easter tide. There's no point in direction, we cannot even choose a side. I took the old track, the hollow shoulder across the waters. On the tall cliffs, they were getting older, sons and daughters. The jaded underworld was riding high. Waves of steel hurled metal at the sky. And as the nails sunk in the cloud, the rain was warm and soaked the crowd. Lord, here comes the flood. We'll say goodbye to flesh and blood. If again the seas are silent and Annie's still alive, it'll be those who gave their island to survive. Drink up, dreamers, you're running dry. When the flood calls, you have no home, you have no walls. In the thunder crash, you're 1,000 minds within a flash. Don't be afraid to cry at what you see. The actor's gone, there's only you and me. And if we break before the dawn, they'll use up what we used to be. Lord, here comes the flood. We'll say goodbye to flesh and blood. If again the seas are silent and Annie's still alive, it'll be those who gave their island to survive. Drink up, dreamers, you're running dry. electric cup. Dreamers, you're running dry.
Your first new song of the evening, although that's not really a new song. Adam Holzman, from his brand new album called Zombie Apocalypse. He doing the keyboards on that track, Randy McStein doing the vocals and the guitar. The song you heard is called Here Comes the Flood. That is a Peter Gabriel composition that comes from Peter's first album. Adam Holzman is the keyboard player with Steven Wilson. He's also a keyboard player with the Jane Getter Premonition, and in Adam's career, he was the last musical director for Miles Davis. Randy McStein is now also in Steven Wilson's solo band and is also in the Porcupine Tree touring band. I do hope you enjoyed that particular cut. Before that, David Bowie, from 1994, an album called Black Tie, White Noise. The song that you heard was called I Feel Free. As a Peter Brown and Jack Bruce composition, originally recorded by Cream way back about 1967. Do hope you enjoyed that. We're here till about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time this evening. Lots of interesting things for you tonight. I do have 3 in a row from Kansas coming up a little later. I happen to have seen them in concert last night. We'll talk about that after a bit. Right now we're going to do 3 in a row from Todd Rundgren, who I happen to have seen in concert last Friday evening. And he was brilliant. It was a bucket list item for me. I've been a long-time Todd fan and also a long-time Kansas fan. And seeing both of those artists over the weekend, 2 items crossed off my bucket list. Todd was very interesting. He was getting a lot of people mad at him, I think, in the audience because he didn't play the hits until the medley that he did as an encore. The entire bulk of his performance was material from his solo catalog, and in this particular set, you're going to hear 3 of the songs that he did on Friday evening. Kind of give you a flavor for what we were able to hear on Friday. We start with something from an album called Global that was released in 2015. Todd Rundgren, this is Rise.
Face. There ain't no future in this place. Time's ticking away. Time keeps ticking away. Time's ticking away. Time keeps ticking away. If we don't rise, then we will fall. Caution, doing nothing is not an option. Time's ticking away. Time keeps ticking away. Time's ticking away. Time keeps ticking away. If we don't rise, then we will fall. Taken away, time keeps taken away. Time's taken away, time keeps taken away. Time's taken away, time keeps taken away. Time's taken away. afraid to bend my back. I am not afraid of dirt. But how I fear the things I do for lack of honest work. My family is lost to me. They could not bear the hurt to see the state their boy is in for lack of honest work. I hold no blame for anyone. 'Twas I who did arrange to pay my union due so I'd not have to learn or change. And when I was replaced, 'twas I who started down the hill and drank away my savings till I couldn't stop myself. The prophets of a brave new world, captains of industry, have visions grand and great designs, but none have room for me. They see a world where everyone is rich and smart and young. But if I live to see such things, too late for me they come. I know I'm not the only one to fall beneath the wheel. Such company cannot assuage the loneliness I feel. So many are resigned to be society's debris, but I will be remembered for the life took from me. For I'm not afraid to bend my back, I am not afraid of dirt, but how I fear the things I do for lack of honest work. But how I fear the things I do.
3 in a row from Todd Rundgren. And the 3 songs that you heard in that set were 3 of the songs that he performed live last Friday evening. Really, really cool concert. A little bit, I won't say politically edged, but the lyrics of most of the songs that he did have a message to it. The song you just heard was called God Said. It is from a 2004 album of Todd's called Liars. The middle song, the a cappella song, was from an album called A Cappella that was released in 1985. The song that you heard was called Honest Work. And we started off with something from a 2015 album of Todd's called Rise. I'm sorry, the album was called Global. The song was called Rise. I'll say the same thing about Kansas after a bit here, but if you ever have a chance to see Todd Rundgren in concert, take the opportunity and go see him. He is touring out west a little later this summer, co-headlining with Heart. It was just Todd on Friday evening, Todd and his band, and the band was great. Todd was great. It was a wonderful concert. You're listening to The Seventh House. The second of your new music pieces this evening. That is brand new music from Howard Jones. The song you heard, the piece you heard, was called Hope is a Decision. It is from his newest album. It is called Piano Composed. It was released about a month ago. It's a series of piano instrumental pieces that he has written through the years. I like that piece. If you ever hear it again, listen to the beginning of the piece. It definitely has a Bill Conti feel to it, like it could have been used in the movie Rocky, to give you kind of an idea. I don't think Howard Jones gets enough credit for his piano playing, but there's a very good example of it. I do hope you enjoyed it. Since I'm talking about concerts this evening, one of the better concerts I saw was the Howard Jones Trio. Howard Jones on piano, Robin Bolt on guitars. Robin Bolt has been a long-time member of Fish's band, for those of you in the progressive world, and Nick Beggs on bass and Chapman Stick. Very, very excellent concert. Speaking of excellent concerts, last night I attended Kansas. Kansas was part of a triple feature. Some good old Southern fried rock and roll got everybody started with the Outlaws and 38 Special. Kansas was the headliner. Kansas was very, very excellent indeed. Even though there is only one founding member that still plays in the band, the musicianship in Kansas, very, very excellent. I was given the honor of spending a little time backstage with the band and got to talk to their violin player, Joe Deninzon, who you'll hear later on a little bit before the concert. So that was a very cool thing for me. But the concert overall was really, really cool. And we're going to play you 3 from Kansas. The first and third songs in this set they did play last night. The middle song they did not, but it just happens to be one of my favorite Kansas songs. We go all the way back to 1974 from their debut album. This is Kansas. It's called Can I Tell You?
And nothing more. she'll be free. Give solace to a maid with all her innocence, and give sanctuary to this refugee. After months of pain and crying, you
3 in a row from Kansas. And I will say again, if you have a chance to see them in concert, please go. Well worth it. Although there's only one original member still touring with the band, that is Richard Williams, their second guitar player, the musicianship overall in Kansas is very, very impressive. Well worth going to see. 3 in a row from Kansas, as we said. We wrap it up with something from the album Point of No Return from 1977. This song that you heard was called Portrait He Knew. The middle song is one that they did not do last night in concert. It comes from a 2016 album entitled The Prelude Implicit. And if you've not heard that album, go give it a listen. It's a very, very fine album from Kansas. The song you heard was called Refugee. We started off by going way back to the very first Kansas album, 1974, with a song called Can I Tell You. It is just about the top of the hour. You're listening to The House of Prog, www.houseofprog.com. This is the 7th House for your mid-July Monday. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope all of you are doing well, staying dry, staying cool. And if you are enjoying what you're hearing, you've got 90 minutes to tell your friends what you do on Monday evenings. See if you can't get them turned on and tuned in to the House of Prog. Lots of things yet to play for you. We're going to do a deep dive into the music of the New York and Connecticut-based band. I said New Jersey earlier. I apologize. But the band is Is. We'll do some music from the members of Is to kind of wrap up the program in a bit. We do have a seasonal song to play for you. I'll tell you about that when we get there. I would be remiss if I did not play a couple from the Strawbs. That will come up a little later as well. But right now we're going to have some fun with Kansas. Be 4 songs in this set. All of these songs in this set will be related to Kansas in one way, shape, or form. We'll tell you about it when we get done, but we'll give you some hints right now. First song we're going to play is from a band called Stratospheerius. They are out of New York City. The guiding light in the band Stratospheerius is Joe Deninzon, violin player, a very excellent violin player. He is now the violin player in Kansas. And this is a title track from their most recent album. The song and the album are called Impostor.
Impostor.
Survey your truth is a fact. White eyes hanging on your next word, perfecting the act. One more day, another dollar, cash out in the end. How long till they all discover that it's all just pretend? Lost in the clouds, this game, yeah. Lost in the clouds as I play the crowd. Pull the wool over your eyes. You question all of it. Maybe you're full of shit. Life is a big charade, and yet we still get paid.
can see the dewdrops falling down from a gleaming heaven. I can hear the voices call.
When you're coming home now, son, the world is not for you. Tell me, what's your point of view?
Hey there, Mr. Madman, what you know that I don't know? Tell me some crazy stories, let me know who wants the show.
Glassy-eyed and laughing, he turns and walks away. Tell me what made you that way. Here I am, just waiting for a sign, asking questions, learning all the time. It's always here, it's always there. It's just love, America's out of nowhere.
Tell me now, dear mother, what's it like to be so old? Children grown and leaving, see the world is going cold.
Though your body is ailing you, your mind is just like new. Tell me where you going to. It's so simple, lying right before your eyes. If you only look through this disguise, it's always here, it's always there. It's just love, America's out of nowhere. Love, America's out of nowhere. Sing this song 100, maybe 1,000 years ago. No one ever listened, I just played and then I go off into the sunset like the Western heroes do. Tell me what you gonna do. Here I am, I'm sure to see a sign. All my life I knew that it was mine. It's always here, it's always there. It's just love.
you know I'm richer for the experience. It's time we're wasting when there's so much you and I could be trying. Get busy with living. Forget busy dying. I wanted to give you a victory kiss, but you were not down with any of this. Then all of a sudden you cannot resist. Something has changed. So tired of pacing while I wait for you to come to your senses. This night is fading while you dance around your darker intentions. So tired of falling down every time you see me swing for the fences. You'll try to explain it with no consequences. I wanted to give you a victory kiss, but you were not down with any of this. Then all of a sudden you cannot resist. What's going on? Now you want the kiss. Why you gotta go and
We did 4 songs in that set. All 4 of the songs had a relationship to Kansas, and we'll tell you about it. We wrap it up with a band out of Kansas called Proto-Kaw. The song that you heard was called Occasion of Your Honest Dreaming. It's from their debut album released in 2004. The album is called Before Became After. Proto-Kaw is a band made up of musicians who were part of the Kansas family before Kansas was formed in 1974. Kerry Livgren, one of the musicians in Proto-Kaw. Before that, something from Spiraling, from their 2008 album entitled Time Travel Made Easy. The song you heard was called Victory Kiss. Vocalist and keyboard player in Spiraling was Tom Brisland, who is now the keyboard player and musical manager of Kansas. Also in that set, Melanie and Martin Schnella out of Germany from an album released in 2020 called Through the Decades. The song that you heard was called Miracles Out of Nowhere, which is an acoustic arrangement of a Kansas piece that originally appears on Left Overture, which I think was 1976, if I'm not mistaken. And we started this set with the current violin player in Kansas, Joe Deninzon, and his band Stratospheerius, the title track from their 2024 album entitled Impostor. It's a Monday evening. What are your friends doing? Get them turned on and tuned in to the House of Prague and the 7th House.
yeah. Turns me and feels like a night, yeah. Just done something that I thought that I would not feel this year and all too real. Maybe it was just a bad moment. Maybe I can beg for forgiveness.
Something a little different for you. That's brand new music from Vernon Reid, guitar player out of New York City, best known for his work in the band Living Colour. He has a new album coming out in October. The album is going to be called Hoodoo Telemetry, and you just heard a song called The Haunting, which is the first single released from that album. It will be interesting if you're familiar with Vernon Reid's solo work. He does stretch some boundaries. I hope you enjoyed that, because you'll hear more of it as we get closer to October. It is the 7th house this evening, and we need to step back for a moment or two and reflect upon the fact that in our progressive rock community over the weekend, one of the legends of progressive rock passed on. David Cousins, founding member, principal songwriter, principal singer for the progressive band known as the Strawbs, passed away yesterday morning, I believe. The Strawbs, best known for their blending of folk and progressive, even Celtic and progressive as well. Really, really cool stuff all through the years. We have a couple of songs from the Strawbs. One from one of their first albums, one from one of their more recent albums, honoring the musical legacy of Mr. David Cousins, something called Hero and Heroine.
And his sail was set in search of land. His life out solely by him and was guided by the tide. Heroine more fleecy white, she beckoned like some savior bright. Shipwrecked sailors in the night were bid welcome to her side. Must surely cease the irresistible white fleece-led hero in search of the peace which she alone could offer. Thus he knelt before her feet, wary lest their eyes should meet. He knew his life was incomplete, for he had yet to suffer. Hero could no longer speak while realizing he was weak. His life increasingly grew
the song came from the song of infinite sadness. Perhaps it came from Babylon. I hold you to the heavens. Your soul will speak to me as you leave. The longer the wait, the softer your words become. Song of infinite sadness. Perhaps he carved his name in stone. Two songbirds fly in silence. Two songbirds share a voice with one tongue. The sun god's awake, the songbird will sing once more. Two lovers torn apart, a heart that beats love. One heart shared between two lovers, a song of infinite sadness. Sang the song of infinite sadness. Perhaps he lives within us all. I hold you to the heavens. Your soul will speak to me as you leave. The longer the wait, the softer your words become.
Honoring the musical legacy and legend of David Cousins, a couple from the Strawbs. David Cousins on voice, on acoustic guitar. He was also the composer of both songs that you heard. We took one from a 2017 album from the Strawbs. The album is called The Ferryman's Curse, and the song that you heard just now was called The Song of Infinite Sadness. Before that, we went back to 1974, one of the earlier albums of the Strawbs. title track from an album called Hero and Heroine. Give the Strawbs a listen when you have a chance this week. Really, really cool. Acoustic flavored, a little folk, lots of Mellotron on the early albums. Really, really cool stuff. I hope you enjoyed that. You're listening to the 7th House on this Monday evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to go back to 1972 and play something that's a little seasonal. This is something I always pull out at this time of year. And as you listen to the song and try and figure out why I'm playing the song, you will be able to figure it out. This is the title track from an album by Uriah Heep, released in 1972. Let's all go to the Magician's Birthday.
Garden, some were singing, some were dancing, while the midnight moon shone brightly overhead. The stars so gaily glistened, and the Sphinx in silence listened to the magician tell of lives that he had led. Let the bells of freedom ring, songs of love to Friday's King. Let's all go to the magician's birthday. It's in the forest, but not so far away. Much to do and so much to say.
From 1972, something a little seasonal. Uriah Heep with The Magician's Birthday. Do you remember when that was the thing to listen to? Uriah Heep, really big back in the day. Do hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. It's always good to take that out and give it a spin this time of year. We've got one last set to play in this episode of The Seventh House before we leave you with something from Is. In fact, the rest of the set tonight will feature the musicians of the New York, Connecticut progressive band known as Is. Really cool stuff that these fine musicians have created, and they're also fine people too. I've met most of the band. Really, really cool people. We'll start with something from Laura Meade. She's one of the lead singers in Is. She's had a couple of albums that have been released. This one is, I believe, from the first album she did. The album's called Remedium. It was released in 2018. This is called Sunflowers at Chernobyl.
Object you create. swallow it all, I'll make it all okay. I'll be your sunflowers at Chernobyl, I'll take it away and make it safe.
To my way, and as the trouble began, you start reaching for me and you grabbed my hand. You brought it to my attention, you weren't going anywhere. There with you by my side, I could be caring less if my life was fair. 'Cause you are such a good friend of mine. Yes, you are such a good friend of mine. Do you remember the day, the first time we met, we could only play? I was standing all alone, I was making believe I was on the phone. You started talking with me underneath the shade of a tree. I think we were only 3.5. Yes, you are such a good friend of mine. Yes, you are such a good friend of mine.
like what I say. You may not like the way my eyes stay straight, but I tell the truth because I say of what is that it is, and what is not that it is not, that it is not. You are deceiving all the people receiving. All your power is fleeting, and real life is meeting. You cannot stop what I say. You cannot change my name. It's written on the palm of my hand, of my hand. Your kind may cheat me, but you can't deceive me. I know the feeling. Real life is meeting. Real life is meeting. Real life is meeting. Real life is meeting. I have known this house. There is copper in the soil. Words take too long. Another love affair. You will have no more dreams. It's high time. You went in. You went in. Take care. Drop back. Keep your head
to be here. Emotion breaks through the haze, the happiness tear, choosing the moment to steal, the vision to see. A deeper instinct reveals
The last set of the evening for this episode of the Seventh House consists of 4 songs featuring the members of the progressive rock band known as Is. We wrap it up with Paul Bremner. His album is called The Witness, was released in 2016. The song you heard was called From Here I Can See the Horizon. Before that, John Galgano. Title track from his 2012 solo album called Real Life is Meeting. His brother Tom Galgano in there as well. From his brand new album, I believe it's his first solo album. The album is called Sleepwalking in a Strange Land. It was released last week. And the song that you heard was called Good Friend of Mine. And we started with Laura Meade, one of the principal singers in the band. From her album Remedium, released in 2018, the song that you heard was called Sunflowers at Chernobyl. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this episode of The Seventh House. Before we play one last song from Is as a whole, I want to remind you that we do this every Monday evening here at the House of Prog, www.houseofprog.com. We do it from 8 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So come back next week and grab your friends. Let them know what you do on a Monday evening. See if they can't do the same. We'll be back next week with 2.5 hours of music that you may not hear anywhere else. As I said, we're going to leave you with something from Is. This is from a 2005 album called My River Flows. I really love this song. It is called Late Night Salvation. And until we meet again, may all of you be well, be blessed, and know that you are loved. You've been in the Seventh House, and I am the Mercurial Stranger.
Salvation, your radio station, numbing the pain that you feel. It's only in silence you hear someone calling. Only in song can you heal.
Sun, all the colors I see your face, I'm taking you home. Did you ever really love me? No,
gold and glitter fair reveal the colors that you wear. Your queen